to the inaugural, as if we've never done it before. Well, who knows if we'll do it again, but let's see what happens. The inaugural Independent Thinking Online Children's Book Festival, brought to you in partnership with, what's her name? That lady off the telly, the one who does all the stuff with parents and
and the funny hair.
With the hair and the earrings and writes books, and it's just so full of energy. Come back to me. It's been such a privilege doing these interviews in the build-up over the course of the week, and the ones we pre-recorded, but also now live, to meet these just most amazing and wonderful writers, writing books for children, writing books about children, writing books for parents, writing books for parents that are relevant for teachers, writing books for everybody, about just trying to get the best out of young people in our care. And all of these people have been brought together by the lady we're about to speak to and her amazing book club. So just Sue Atkins, the parent coach off the telly, great to speak to you. Thank you for helping me be part of this mad, crazy, creative, wonderful world that you have created with your book club. So if you just sort of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about how you got into doing what you're doing, and then also the book, because we're going to be talking about the Can Do Kids Journal, even though I noticed behind you a plug for your latest book, latest award-winning book, so we'll sort of talk about that as well. But just welcome, Sue, welcome to this.
And thank you for hosting it. It has been a marathon, not a sprint, obviously, by the look of this for you. It is wonderful to give lesser known authors, I feel, an opportunity to be able to, let teachers, librarians, parents, grandparents all know about their wonderful books. So, yes, I was a former deputy head and class teacher for over 22 years. And my father died, followed by my mother within the same year. And I just thought, do I want to teach the Vikings for another 25 years to year 4? And I thought, you know what? I think I have a change. So I went off and retrained in something called NLP. I'm a master practitioner and a trainer in that. I'm trained by Paul McKenna and Dr. Richard Bandler. And then I was invited to write a book in 2007 called Raising Happy Children for Dummies, one in the very famous Black and Yellow series. And that then led to radio and BBC. And of course, once you get in with the BBC and you can talk a bit, they like to invite you on again. So I'm nearly always on BBC Radio nearly every week. And then that led to TV, to sitting on the sofa at ITV this morning. That then led to me being the Disney family expert as well, doing Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives and all sorts of stuff. So it just keeps rolling out because of my passion to support and nurture parents. And not only that, I started the book club because of parenting in a pandemic. And I thought, what could I do to help parents in some way? So I started to think, well, there must be some great books, of other people that I've read and people I've invited on my podcast. And so the idea kind of came from that. And my goodness, didn't the universe say, well, we think this is a good idea? Because now we have this fabulous group and community. That's what has knocked me out. This community of wonderful authors collaborating, creating, sharing, nurturing, marketing, promoting, all of these wonderful words around the words of books and children and literacy. No finger pointing, just a helping hand. And some of them are most of them are just outstanding. So it's lovely to be here. I hope that's a good enough intro about who I am and what I do.
That's good. I mean, the whole thing about the parenting coach, I mean, it's quite a bold move because parenting is something that everybody knows they're failing at. But everybody doesn't doesn't like.
Not all the time.
You're never going to get it right. You have your little victories as well, but nobody wants to be told that they're not doing it right or anything. So how do you get that balance right as a coach?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think when I started and I retrained, I had some marketing help. I had this guy come down and help me with design, the logo and all that. It changed over time. But he said, so Sue, what is it you do? And I remember someone at BNI, that networking thing, said to me one time, so Sue, is it a hobby? And I was so affronted by this, that my passion is to serve and help parents, support them, asking them good questions, help them to find their own answers. Anyway, this marketing guy sort of chatted with me and he said, so what is it you do? I said, well, I help parents. They said, well, you need to make that on the tin so they know what it is. So he called me the parenting expert. And of course, some people give me a bit of jip about that because it's not about that. I'm actually a parenting coach, but parents don't know about that, particularly here in the UK. They go, so what is it you do? So I take people from where they are now to where they want to go, helping them, asking them questions, nurturing them. And then it led to books. And then they said, take off that hat of asking the questions and start telling people some of your techniques and strategies. So that was the first book. I was a little uncomfortable sometimes sort of telling. So I hope, and I was interviewed by Jazz Ampapour the other day on her Teacher Hug Radio. She said that she noticed that I don't judge. It's all about nurturing and helping. And that made my day, because it's hard enough raising happy, confident kids. And you don't need somebody telling you you're not doing it right. You need someone to go alongside you and support you and perhaps give you a few tips along the way.
Yeah, no, I'll have to check out that one on Teacher Hug Radio. With Jazz is an independent thinking associate as well. She's just such an amazing story.
Inspirational. You can imagine the energy between our interview. I didn't get a word in edgeways.
That sounds brilliant. And as a father, I've got 3 kids. They're older now. Do you find that the coaching that you give the father might be different from the coaching of the mother, or the asking for help and support is different from the mother and the father? How do you find that?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question, because often it's the mum that will be contacting me usually, and then we have a chat about it, and mostly people work with me for about 6 weeks, an hour a week, and then I'm like the stabilizers, on a bike. They come to me, we chat, and then they ride off into the sunset. So often the mums come, or we do the Zoom and we chat, and then they bring in the dads who see that, oh, there's been a change this week that's quite good. Family's not quite so sort of shouty or sort of tense, and then it's all about this idea of chatting, getting to know people, not judging them, and then saying, well, tell it, how is it from your point of view? And perhaps you are at loggerheads, you're being the good guy, you're being the bad guy or the bad cop. Let's look at how you can narrow that down and talk together about how you can go forward. And lots of techniques and strategies, lots of laughter, I hope. And then everybody relaxes. And then the whole family's involved in it if they want to be. And we take it from there.
Okay, that makes sense. And involving the whole family brings us to the book that we're going to focus on today, although we will talk about the one behind you, because it's an important book. But the Can Do Kids Journal. So tell us a little bit about that, how you came to be writing, how children are using it, and then maybe you can sort of read a few bits or a bit from it and sort of share, give us a feel for it.
Yes, well, actually, I was on the advisory board for Kidzania up in London with my friend, Professor Gare Grouse, and he showed me round, and I was getting involved because I just loved the whole concept of Kidzania, the educational side of it.
That's where Kidzania is where children get to be a pilot or get to be something. They sort of...
Yeah, they could be anything, because children can only aspire to what they know. So there are all sorts of wonderful sort of activities that you can do around careers, right from the age of 5 or 6, right the way up. So it's not all about, if you think about being a pilot, there's hundreds of jobs underneath that. Well, not in the air industry at the moment, but there were, or there will be, please God, something like that coming back. So it just opens up the world to kids. So I remember watching this little kid who was shy and didn't have the confidence. He clearly wanted to climb up an abseil down this thing, and he couldn't because he felt he didn't have the confidence. And it was then I thought, I'd been running confident classes for kids in schools for a long time, and my passion was always about raising a happy, resilient child with good self-esteem and strong mental health. So I suddenly thought, man, I need to put this into some sort of formula so that kids that can't come on my courses or don't know me or whatever it is could have access to some of my activities and strategies and tips. So that's when the Can Do Kid Journal came in, where I then just created all these different ideas, simple, practical stuff that's fun. It's very colourful. And it's good fun. So all my sort of expertise is in that. You can dip in and out of it. You don't have to do it all in one go. Kids can do it with their mum or dad or grandma or counsellor or teacher or whoever, because there's lots of fun activities in there. And some of them are NLP, and people don't even know that, around your mindset. And the voices that you use inside your own head can be so destructive. So we need to, get rid of those and start putting in more positive words and affirmations and mantras to help kids succeed in whatever they want to have a go at, whether that's tap dancing, putting their hand up in class, or abseiling like that little boy couldn't do because he was a bit nervous and lacked the confidence to try.
You can see, I mean, I know elements of NLP, and you can see the NLP techniques in there, but it's very subtle. It's just having fun. Have you thought about this? Try this. Have a go at that.
Yes,
It's bright, it's colourful, and it is literally a journal. There's lots of space for the child to be making it their own and writing and scribbling and drawing, and I can see it becoming. Have you got evidence of? Just hold it.
Can't do that. It won't work with my background, will it? But
there's, on an iPad, so I can't show it either. Have you got evidence of how children have been using it?
Yes, I mean, kids send me these. I love kids because obviously I've taught them for so many years, and I never did a day's work in my life because I love teaching kids and I love working with parents. So it's just a blessing. But there's so many things that they send back. Say, oh, I really like that exercise. And someone said to me, oh, it's a box to hold your emotions or something. I thought that was a good one from Xavier, who was about 10. And lots of children say, oh, I really like doing that. Reducing that problem, Mrs. Atkins, and making it smaller, and then throwing it over my shoulder and driving away from my worry and making it smaller as I drive away in my, whatever, Zoom car. So there's loads of stuff. And I talk about in the morning, setting yourself up for a good day. So, I mean, if you get up and go, oh God, I've stubbed my toe and the kettle's not boiling and this isn't any good, you start this whole kind of negative spiral. And not being unkind to my father-in-law, he's a little bit like that, and that sort of is not the way to start your day. So for me, it's about sort of the morning matters. So get up, and I talk about brushing your teeth and looking at yourself in the mirror. So I link it to a habit. So if you brush your teeth in the morning and say, I am special because I'm good at, and you say whatever it is, over a period of 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to dig a little deeper around what you are good at. And this is not about I'm brilliant at maths or I'm great at geography. This is about I'm kind to my sister, I look after people, I'm respectful, I pick up my toys, you name it. And then I link it again in the evening to an attitude of gratitude, because loads of research has shown that if you have this kind of focus on what is wonderful around your life rather than what is negative, you feel better and you release endorphins. So again, brushing teeth, you say what you're grateful for today. And when I've done it with kids in school, they start off, with the obvious, and then they go down more into, I'm really grateful for clean water, and I'm really grateful that my grandma has recovered from whatever it is. And it just keeps reaffirming, and then it becomes a habit, because we can all, I've been on loads of self-development courses because I'm trained by Tony Robbins as well, and I love all that. But what a lot of people do is they get back home, and after about 2 or 3 months, the whole thing kind of drops again, you go back to old habits. So this sort of thing for kids is something you can dip in and out of, go again next year and have another go at it, because you'll be older and you'll think differently. And it just keeps your level of confidence high. And that's what it's about for me, because I believe if a child has good confidence, they won't settle for a job that they don't really like. They won't settle for a relationship that's not really healthy, and they'll have a go in life. And that's what it's all about. Failing forward, making mistakes, learning from them, getting back up, and having another go. So that's what's behind the Can Do Kid Journal, this idea of a child that has resilience, confidence, and belief in themselves.
Nice. And who wouldn't want a child like that? And that should be the focus in our schools. There's a number of books that we've written coming at things from different angles, where the children have said, I wished I'd have been taught confidence. This is in the state school. In the independent sector, they get confidence aplenty, but from the state schools, especially those with challenges or from poorer backgrounds, maybe,
yes,
I wished I'd been taught confidence. That's what I've needed. That's what's holding me back. It's not about qualifications.
Yes.
It's about that inner strength.
Yes.
And
I believe it can be taught, Ian. That's the whole point. When I go in and do, I have loads of music going on. I have, I feel good, that amazing song. And all of that stuff lifts the energy. And then I believe you can teach confidence to kids. And then I also quite like to work with the parents, because sometimes they knock that and they pull that down, and they say things like, dare you to say, well, people like us don't do jobs like that, because that then brings and pops the bubble. So I'm all about, actually, if you can make it holistic and make it fun, then everybody benefits, and even the parents can see that this is quite a good way of thinking and being.
And I can see, reading the book as well, and knowing your work, from a teacher point of view, there is so much that's relevant for them, because they can pop the bubble, they can lift the child up or bring the child down as well, without even being aware of it. Nobody's
yes. Yeah. Oh, I remember dear old Mrs. Coker. I hope she's not watching this. That's a long time ago when I was about 12. So it is a long time ago. And she turned to me in the class and said out loud, well, of course, Sue, you're not much good at maths, are you? And I remember, and all my life that stayed with me. I wouldn't do spreadsheets. I didn't like online banking, anything with numbers. And of course, what did I do? I married a chartered accountant who does the numbers.
It's the, and this is an NLP thing, the teacher is as a hypnotist. We suggest messages into impressionable young minds. You can't sing, you can't do maths, grammar, and they stay with us because it's, we just don't challenge it because it's a figure of authority, whether it's a parent or a teacher. So they just become part of who we think we are, but we can change that. And this comes through in the book, the idea that you can choose, and I'm looking at page 32, to be a morose Morris or a smiley Sue or an easygoing smiley Sue. Wonder where that came from. Or an easygoing Ernie. And that you can choose whether you want to be happy or sad today, or you can choose to feel confident. So the empowering nature of the book comes through. Do you want to sort of read us a little bit?
Well, a little bit of that. You know, what was funny is I was sitting on a course and I was using the Disney characters. I used Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore, and Tigger. So I saw myself as Tigger. And when I left my teaching job after all those 22 years to go off and do other things, I left the Tigger Award. So every term they have to award a child in the lower school or in the school, in primary school, the Tigger Award. So, yeah, I mean, so morose Morris, he looks, he doesn't really look on the bright side of life. And they tend to talk about themselves as I can't. And when they're faced with a challenge, they give up too soon. And that's a real shame. And then I talk about Smiley Sue, because in the end, I lost the, I couldn't get the Disney, the links for that. So I ended up, well, who's that like? Well, all right. I'll be in my own book, why not? So Smiley Sue is bouncy, there you go. I'm naturally full of this energy, right? I'm naturally positive and I'm a half glass full person and I love fun. And I don't put that on, that's just authentic. You couldn't keep that up if you weren't really sincere about it. So but I have a go, and that came from my dad and my mum, who encouraged me, nurtured my confidence, and was very specific in the praise that they gave me. They didn't just go, oh, that's a wonderful picture, isn't that marvellous? I remember them saying, oh, I love that yellow boat and that blue sky and that green and the way that person is dancing there on the shore. It was very specific and it was authentic. It wasn't just, aren't you marvellous all the time? And I think that really helped build up my real inner confidence. And when I made mistakes, they sort of helped me then get back up, but learn from them. And I'm always on about this with parents and kids. Don't blame them and leave them stuck. Say, right, you messed up, don't we all? But what could you do next time that would prevent that? I remember talking to my own daughter sitting on the end of the bed, coming in with her phone that had, run out of charge. It was 2 a.m. and, she'd had a few drinks. And I said, in the morning, we'll talk about this. What did you learn from that, Molly? So that's all the way through, with real kids. I've got 2 kids of my own. Someone said to me, have you got kids? Yes, I've got kids and I've been there, done it, and I've got the t-shirt. Then we go to easygoing Ernie. I had an uncle called Ernie. He was very easygoing, God bless him. He's the Winnie the Pooh character, really. They have a bit of trouble sometimes. They rely too much on their friends and their family for their opinions. They're not what I call internally referenced. I'm internally referenced. That means I know when I've done a good job. I don't need people to constantly keep telling me, good job, Sue, good job. And when I was learning my NLP, I remember I was picked on 500 people in the room, and what's his name? John Laval said to me, kept picking on me, Sue, you're doing a great job. And then he said, Sue, did you know you were doing a great job? And I got kind of annoyed with him. I thought, I know, when I do something well, I kind of know. And then he used that as the example of I'm internally referenced. And of course, I like people to tell me I'm doing a good job, well done. But I do know when I've worked hard and I've kind of got it quite right. So anyway, the sad thing about all of these characters is kids can choose, and they don't know that they can choose. And you've got to notice who you hang out with, because if you hang out with the sort of naysayers and the negative people, they tend to suck your energy like mood hoovers. And over time, you do find that your energy goes down. And I have that in life. And it's not that I don't hang out with all sorts of people, but I also notice when I think, well, I'm picking up your energy and I'm going down that route of being rather negative suddenly. And so what we need to be is the radiator, so they get drawn to us because we're upbeat and we're fun. And then we realize we choose our moods we can choose our friends, and we can choose the direction that we take our lives in. And it doesn't mean we don't hit hurdles, we hit obstacles, we have terrible things that happen to us. We all have that. But there's a difference in that you've got to get back up again and recover, and have another go. So this is what these are all about. And I don't think, kids know that they can choose whether they are an easygoing Ernie or a morose Morris or a smiley Sue.
It's this idea of the internal locus of control, which helps with stress and helps with emotional health and mental health and everything. That there's stuff going on, but I can make choices about it. I mean, there are techniques in the book for dealing with sadness. There are techniques in the book, children dealing with the voices of doubt and challenge and everything that they go through. We're just about out of time. Divorce. Who knew that unleashing you for 20 minutes would go so quickly? So, The Divorce Journal for Kids is an award-winning book. It's a new one. I think the title sort of speaks for itself, but check that out. How can we find out more about your work? I know we've done a deal with the Roving Bookshop. They've got and Neil's put the link up, and there'll be a link on our website so you can sort of get hold of the books that way. But how can they get hold of you? Where are you on social media, website and everything?
Well, I'm actually writing now some training for teachers around divorce, because as a former teacher myself, I wasn't given any. There were 5 kids in my class, and it was actually this lovely little girl called Becky Fagan who said to me one time when she was 8, and this is a long time ago, I'm sorry it took me so long to write it, no one's listening to me. And I remember thinking, oh my God, we need to help a little girl like that. So that's where the Divorce Journal for Kids has come in. And people have been very gracious and kind about it at the moment. And you can find it on my website. You can join a competition from Jessica Kingsley Publishers, which is JKP on Twitter. It's in all good bookshops. You can get it on Amazon. And do check out my co-parenting cards. I've got conversational cards around how to tell children you're divorcing, the questions that they answer, a whole load of questions. So do check me out. I'm thesueatkins.com, the one and only, because there's a Sue Atkins sitting on a yacht, and that's not me.
Wonderful to hear from you. Thank you for letting me into your life, but also into your world of authors and amazing people. And thank you for all you've done for families, but especially from my perspective for children through your work. And long may it continue.
Thank you so much, Ian, and thank you for all your help with this. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.